son of a biscuit sauce. That's why is being recorded. That's why it's so important to catch these live, because you cannot trust me with recording. Bryce, anything else that I missed on that little pep talk?
No, I think it's fantastic. And that's where I'd say what's really great is, I think for everyone on here, is just to know kind of the very short and sweet version of it is there are a lot of things that you can do with Shout. And I think sometimes people get overwhelmed because it's a big platform, it's a business tool, and there's a whole ton of features. But knowing and understanding, the best use cases is, I would say, 90% of the battle. And that's the really great part, is Erica has spent a couple of years now utilizing Shout and working her business with it, where she's been able to get things dialed in and says, great, things that are working really well for me, right? You guys are all part of the community and the team chat stuff, which is great. You can automate onboarding, you can handle team communication. And then on the customer standpoint, again, being able to do, outreach for people who have ordered, being able to do VIP stuff, and just being able to keep your contacts organized and have your book of business all in one spot are really important. And so that's where I'd say everything that she just said, I want to cover and hit tonight. And I don't think there's anything else that we would need to go way deep in. I think this is always such a great kind of like starting point for people, where hopefully it doesn't feel or come across as too confusing or like too much, or man, maybe when my business is bigger. Maybe the way that I would want to kick it off, though, honestly, Erica's just asking you the question. It's not to breadcrumb. Like, I would love just your honest answer on here. And I promise we haven't discussed this beforehand, but for you, right? Something that I have people ask or talk about a lot is where it's Bryce, this sounds really cool, but I've only got like 10 customers. Like, is it really worth doing? And so my question to you on here, Erica, would just be, you've been on Shout for like 3 years. And so that's where I'd say, with this, in 3 years, what has happened with your book of business, with your customers? And you look at it and say, if someone says, great, this is awesome, but do I really, this might feel like I'm going from 0 to 60. Mostly just wanting to know what your honest thoughts are on there. If I'm brand new distributor and I just signed up for Zaya today, right? Would you recommend saying, yep, still makes sense to put the system in place and start running after it? Or
I do. I really do. I wish I would have known about this day one and implemented this, because again, it levels you up on your customer service, and you have a system in place. So you're not trying to reinvent the wheel, especially busy women. I don't care if you have one customer, like that is the beginning of a business, right? And how are you going to grow it unless you start implementing some of these really good, solid systems? And so I absolutely feel like it is so important to start, no matter how small or new you are in the business. The other thing that I would say is, you guys, I can't even tell you how many times I've gotten sales from my text marketing, thousands and thousands of dollars of sales, because you guys, Facebook is overwhelming. I love Facebook. You guys, like, Facebook is my jam. Y'all know that. However, we know algorithms, right? They love you or they don't. And here's the deal. There's no text message algorithm. It is a sent text message. It's not like, oh, I might send it if they want it. It gets sent. So you know that thing is received, that message that you want to get out to the world is viewed by that person. Now, whether they decide to come back to you or not with whatever it is you are, saying is up to them. But it is a complete game changer. I would absolutely suggest it no matter where you're at in this business.
Awesome. Cool. And again, none of this is a paid partnership. Nothing. It's really helpful, right? Because that's something that we get asked that all the time, right? And then I'm always like, hey, same thing. Shout for me started about 10 years ago. I was a social media influencer, and I was relying completely on Instagram to handle and manage all of my followers and all of my contacts. And when I started running into issues with algorithms and shadow bans and getting locked out, it put my business in jeopardy. And so for me, I'm a really big fan and advocate of just being able to manage your customer contact information, having it in one place, and then having a system or a method to do that. So what I'd love to do on here is I'd love to share my screen, and I'm just going to kind of walk in just kind of through a blank account and just talk about, here's some of the very first kind of basic steps of things to do when getting started in Shout. And so what I'm going to do is let me share this here really quick. And then if I'm going, too fast or too slow, just let me know on here, Erica. What I'm going to do also with this is I'm going to kind of just kick things off using I'm going to kick things off using the folder that we put together for the things that you'll be sharing with your team. So basically, this would be if anyone else has like downloaded Shout just in the last couple of days or today or whatever, you'll have access to kind of like a starter folder that Eric has put together of really helpful and relevant things. So I'm just going to toss this link in here. There's a folder with this, and there's a few things that Eric has gone through and built out for you guys. And I'll just kind of talk about these very briefly here, and then we'll just kind of get into showing some easy steps with Shout. So first off, we have a VIP opt-in and a VIP opt-out bot. So when Eric is talking about people building a text list and then being able to send out promotions to people a couple of times a month, we utilize these bots to help automate getting these people organized. When they opt in, getting them organized into a list that we can send messages to, or if they decide they don't want these messages from us anymore, they can simply respond with an opt-out trigger word, and then it's going to pull them out of that list. So then, they don't keep hearing from us, but we don't lose contact with that person. And then we've got some tags and some lists here that we'll talk about. So what I'm going to do on here is I'm just going to hit import all. And what this is going to do is everything, she's already built all this stuff out for us. So it saves, some legwork here on this front. So the first place that I want to start though is when we kind of talk about our contacts, and we're going to do that from kind of a list standpoint. So with this, we talk about kind of keeping a record of our customers, or keeping people, kind of condensed in one place. I don't know, and even if it's like by raise of hands, right? I don't know how many of you actually like keep track of your customers anywhere outside of your back office or social media. Does anybody, do anything of that sort, like currently? Okay, so a couple hands, awesome. So like 2 out of like, it looks like there's got to be 50 or 60 people on the call. So that's where usually it's typically is a very small number of people who are trying to track anything, outside of this. And so that's where what we've tried to do is make this very simple. So things that I like to do, I want to talk through the first case that Erica had mentioned on here, where it, starting out very, very simply, a few years ago, anytime she got a new order, she would actually go in and she would add people into Shout, and then she would message them individually. So on here, we tried to make it really easy. So I am currently in the contact side of Shout. And if I wanted to, add a new contact here, I could do that manually simply by clicking the plus button, and I could add someone's name. So on here, I'm going to add Malia. And so I'm going to say, great, here's Malia. I'm not going to put her real phone number, so I'll just kind of throw some vibes in there. We'll see if it'll actually let me do that. And then we'll say, great, I've got Malia in here as a contact. So now that I've got her added in here as a contact, this is where I have a nice customer record. What's great about this is I can easily go in and I can take notes about Malia. I can also assign her to lists, or I can add tags to her account to make it easy to keep her organized around maybe purchases that she's made, if she wants to receive, VIP text messages or anything of that sort. So in this case, what Erica used to do is she'd go in and someone would make a purchase. So she would manually create a contact just like that. And then she would send them a message. So then she'd say, great, I want to send a message. I'm going to do that through my phone number. And then on here, and this is just a demo account, so I don't actually have the phone number added in here. This is where then she could say something like, hey, contact first name, this is Bryce. Thank you for your purchase. Right? So very simple. These types of touches on here, they're personal. They make people feel happy, right? They make them feel good. And again, the reason why people, come and, purchase from a boutique business is because they want boutique treatment, right? And so this is a really, really great and simple way to be able to reach out to people and establish that, that connection with them outside of social media, okay? So on here, in this case, if I have my phone number hooked up onto here, I would just hit the send button, and then it would send out as a text to the customer. Now, the next way that we can get people in here is we have a lot of people, that might have like a big, CSV, or like a big, and by CSV, they might have like a spreadsheet of, their customers that they can export out of the back office tool. And I'm not sure if all of you know how to do that. I'm assuming Erica, have you given like a training or a tutorial on how to get people's contact info like that into a spreadsheet?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, cool. So what we would do in this case is, let's say that I had a big spreadsheet with a bunch of names. What we could do is we can then actually bulk upload contacts into Shout. We would do that by clicking on this upload CSV button here. And with this, I can go through and I can actually download a Shout template that I can then copy and paste those names into and upload contacts at bulk. Okay, so I would open this up here, and this is going to, oh goodness, hang on a second. That didn't open my proper application. Sorry, I've got a code. I have Code Runner running, sorry.
You're fine. So Bryce, I'm just gonna back up for 1 second. So like we mentioned, I wanna reiterate this. When you are getting orders, like say today you got an order from Jessie, okay? And she's ordered from you like 15 times. This is a great way to start off your Shout experience and starting that new drip campaign. Even though she might know the return and exchange policy, she might know that there is, you know, an opportunity to book a party with you and all of that. But in the drip campaign that Bryce is going to show you, it walks them through that. And so it's a really great way to just start off small instead of importing all of them. Because I feel like that's a little bit overwhelming, and that might be what a lot of you guys are kind of hesitant and worried about based on the chat information. But that's really where I started, was just importing the orders as I got them day by day, or you could go week by week, whatever that looks like for you. Even if they've ordered from you a bunch, here's the deal. I would just message them if they say anything back, and I would just say, I'm testing out something new. I hope that this just kind of gives you a little bit more of an experience of if you were to ever refer a friend to me, like what kind of customer service they would be getting from me.
Love that. Yeah, I think that is fantastic. So with this, real quick, sorry, I should have shared my whole screen. I was like, oh yeah, here's my CSV. I might need to like stop the share and then reshare it for people to actually see the CSV template. Do you want me to show that piece, or is it helpful for people to know that you can download a template and then you can add them in? I can show what the upload looks like. But do you want to actually see the CSV and what it looks like and copying and pasting names into it?
I don't know. I feel like that overwhelms me. Does anybody want to see that? Like, is anybody like, I'm definitely going to import my customer list? And you want to know what that looks like? Say it in the chat. You know.
Yeah, what we can do, if not on the easier piece on here, right, is we can just, I'll just kind of show you what it looks like. So you can still see my screen inside of here. So if I'm inside of contacts, right, I would hit upload CSV. I downloaded a Shout CSV template where I can then copy and paste the names, phone numbers, and emails and addresses. Anything like that can be pasted into that template. And now that I have a filled out template on here, this is then where I could go through and I could say, great, I'm going to, you know, upload this one here. This is my CSV file that I just added everything to. And as I hit upload, right, this is now going to upload all of the contacts that are inside of it. And so that's just a nice, easy way to do a big bulk upload on this and get a bunch of people in at one time, rather than having to individually go through and add contacts individually. So that, you know, from that standpoint, very quick and simple, makes life pretty easy. Now, as you can see, I've got 300 contacts that just got added directly into Shout with really just a couple of clicks, right? So that does make life quite a bit easier to do it on that front. And I guess maybe then kind of the third way to talk about this is the other really great way when people opt in. So as Erica was talking about, you know, saying, hey, I'm trying something new. Here's some of these other pieces. If you don't have, you know, someone who's already made a purchase, right, and you're entering their contact info individually, or if you don't have a spreadsheet, you can do an upload. That's where what we can then kind of jump into is we can talk about some of our Shout bots on here, which are really fantastic. With these bots, these are things that we can actually utilize them to capture customers' contact information. So I'm just going to turn those on in my sidebar here. Let me close that. So with this, when we talked about these VIP bots, some of these have already been added to my account, which Eric already built for me. So what I'm going to do on this is I'm going to click into a VIP opt-in bot. Now, we've put some instructions in here for you that help you, help explain how they work and how to utilize it. But basically what happens is if someone texts the word VIP to my phone number, what it's going to do is Shout is then, through your Shout phone number, it's going to respond to them and it's going to say, hi there, thanks for joining. It's going to ask them for their first and last name. When they've responded with their first and last name, it's then going to ask them, what their birthday is. After it's asked for their birthday, it's then going to send them a message saying that they, that they're going to be the first to hear about all the promos, new releases, exclusive offers, And if they would like to stop receiving the messages, that they can reply with the trigger word no VIP. So what's really cool about this bot is when we, when someone messages into it, they're just messaging in and we just have their phone number. We know nothing about them. The second that they respond with their first and last name, Shout's going to automatically create them as a contact for us. And then they would end up looking just like one of these contacts here, right? So they could message in, now we have their name, they're saved, and we have all of the info that we need. So it's pretty exciting on that front because, again, these are 3 ways that you can get your contacts into Shout, and they're all pretty straightforward and easy. And then, from there, we want to make sure that we can keep them organized and easy to message and bulk. So if I go back to our bots here, this VIP opt-in bot, if we were to, promote the trigger word VIP to people, it's going to gather their info. And then the nice part is, I'll just hit edit so you can kind of see a little bit more of the view here. I hope I'm not overwhelming with this. But what's great is we then have some actions that can be added onto here. So it's automatically going to add them as a contact, and then it's automatically going to add them to a list called VIP. So when it comes time for us to send out these promotional messages, and Erica, what did you say? How many messages do you typically send out to your VIP group on a monthly basis? Do you do 2 or 3?
To all my customers, a lot, but I would say 2 to 3 a month. Yeah. But I would say to the VIPs, I'm probably going to be doing more because they asked for it.
Right.
So they're wanting new releases and like specials and promos. So I'm probably going to say it's more like if the new release week is a bust, I'm probably not going to do it, but just being honest.
Which is smart. Yeah. Which is smart. So in this case, let's assume on here that everyone that I just uploaded, all of my contacts, let's say that all of them had actually opted in and they wanted to receive VIP messages. So on here, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to add these people to a VIP list really quick. So I'm going to say, great, let me go ahead and add them to that. And then what I'm going to do is anytime I want to send out a message to all of these people and I want them to receive it individually, I can simply go here. I can click this little red plus button here. I can hit broadcast message. I can then select my recipient. So I can say, great, I want to send a message to everyone who lives in the VIP list. So I'm going to select that. I'll hit save. And now I'm going to select the service. So for right now, I'll just put Shout to Shout because I don't have the phone number on there. But it works the exact same way, whether it's going through Shout, if they have the Shout app, or if we have their phone number. And then same type of thing. This is now where I can then type out something again. I like to make it personal. And since I have all their first names, I always like to say something like, hey, contact first name. You're the first to hear it. New promo on this outfit today only. Get yours here, right? And then maybe I'd throw a link and then I might upload a great image or something on here where I'm going to say, awesome, like here is, here's a picture of this thing. And again, a lot of, people are like, hey, what about the graphics? What about this? What about that? What's really great is we can send these as an MMS. I don't even know what this one is. We're just going to click on it really quick. So this is then going to throw an image inside of here. And then it's going to send a nice text message with an image and a link that's then going to, try and help drive your sales on there. So this is the type of stuff where, I always like to just kind of hit pause right here and first just make sure that this is making sense to everybody, that I'm not breaking any brains. But really it's one of those things where what we just covered is how do I create a contact or get them into Shout? How do I organize them? We use lists for that. And then how do I communicate with all these people? We then do that with a broadcast message. And so that's one of the really great, things about here is we can in bulk message and communicate a whole ton of people all at once, or we have the opportunity to do lots of really great, just one-on-one individual follow-up and messaging back and forth with people to then make sure that they stay, they stay warm. They know that we're thinking about them and we're here to support. So anyway, at this point on here, Erica, do you want me to, so we just talked about how to send a broadcast. Or this is something we could schedule, right? Now that we've talked about that piece on here, do you want me to kind of go through the drip campaign and talk about that? Or would you like to talk about the drip campaign and explain what that is and how you run it?
Yeah, I can run through it if you want. Can you pull it up for me? Okay, so you guys, this is the way I think a lot of you guys are going to be really excited about utilizing Shout. So let's say Jesse ordered today. I'm going to go up. Actually, let's go to just like your dashboard. I'm going to show them exactly what I do. And it's almost identical from your phone. If you
Just
just
want me
go
to
like,
go like contacts?
yeah, I'm just going to add somebody. You just go up to that red little box and just hit, wait, where's my add a new contact?
So just a little red plus button here for the new contact.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay. New contact. And you guys, I'm just entering in their name, Jesse Smith, and then their phone number. Okay. And then I'm hitting create contact. Like, I'm going to make this really easy for you guys. And then hit create for me if you don't mind. And then right there, I'm going to put them on a list. So you can see, hit edit on the lists. And I would put them under customers. I would create that customer list. Sorry. Right there. Perfect. She's going to go on that. So it's highlighted blue, meaning that that's what she's on. They can be on multiple lists. And if you want to take them off a list, you just go back in there and unclick it. It's perfect. And then I hit done. And then what I'm going to do with her, which on my phone, she stays up. It is a little bit more user-friendly from that. So we'll go to Jesse Smith quick. On your phone, she does stay up. And I'm going to run a drip campaign on her. So super easy. Run drip campaign. You guys, this is like 4 clicks, right? Now you select your service. Drip campaign is going to be, is it in there? I think your computer's like lagging. Is the drip campaign already in there, Bryce?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I just didn't
There you
select
go.
it.
Yep. Example, new customer. Leave blank to start as immediate, and then start drip campaign message as number 1.
Yep. Yeah. And so on here, if we just leave it blank, it'll start right out on the first one. Here's a nice thing though. This is where you can see the different messages that are going to send in this drip campaign.
So if you're like a few days late and you've already thanked them on Facebook and you want to skip that first one, that's the beauty of it too. You can skip one of the messages. So let's hop out of that. You guys, seriously, I was paying somebody to import all of my people every day, all day. And I realized how easy it was to import them quickly as soon as I got that message. So we'll head back over to that drip campaign quick. So this is what I send. I made you guys an example. You're going to want to go through though, and you're going to want to make this your own. So Lauren, so amazing today. I texted her and I said, can you please make graphics really quick for me? This is what I need. So she made these for you. So here's your first message of your drip campaign. It is, hi, Jesse, I left a blank. You're going to have to put in your name. Your Zaya rep, reaching out. Thank you for your order. I'd love to keep in touch. Be sure to check out my group. And then you need to insert your VIP link. You have 2 jobs right there. Okay, ladies, that's it. Like, this has already worked for you. And the timing is perfect. Okay. So then this is right away. As soon as you put them in and start the drip campaign, they get immediately. The second message goes 3 days later. So like 4 days after they ordered or more. Okay. And they're always sent at noon Mountain Standard Time. I feel like everybody's usually out of bed. It's not too late. It's a great time. Then this one is, I'm going to go over the 30-day guarantee policy, right? That way, if they're new, they have that information. And that way, if they've been around for a while, but something doesn't work, I have educated them. I have done my job as a Zaya rep. So that one goes out. You guys don't have to do anything on that. You can change it up if you'd like. And then the next drip, number 3, this one is, usually they haven't gotten their order yet. It's about 6 days after their first text message or their order date. And this is where it gets really cool, you guys. And Amy Peters actually has gotten a lot of, I've only ever gotten 1 order from this. Amy Peters has gotten more, but you ask them for their wish list and you can do a free shipping. You guys can also delete this one too if you don't wish to do anything further with your people as far as that goes, but it's really worked out great for Amy. So you can do that one. And it's just to keep them active as they're going, keep them thinking. You're asking them about their wish list. And then the next one is going to be book a party. So their brain's already ticking on it. So then if we scroll down, 3 more days, they get, hey, have you ever thought about hosting a Zaya party? They have gotten their order. Okay. They've already gotten it. Now I want to make this clear. This is not a cop out for you actually asking them again. This is just the seed is planted. You did like step one. You still have to follow back up and ask them once they, talk to you about their order. Okay. But you guys, we know how many times it takes for somebody to book a party. Like I ask people 6 times and then they book the damn party, right? So this has worked really well because a lot of people will tell me, Erica, I actually saw that text message come across. I have been thinking about it. So it is good. And I have booked a ton of parties this way as well. But don't expect it to happen. Just know that the seed has been planted. So this drip right here, you guys can go in and edit. You can pick different days and stuff like that if you wish. But honestly, it's been tested, tried and true for 2 years. And I feel like the timing is really spot on. People are getting their order by the time they get that wish list text message. And then they have their order, they've worn it once by the time they get the host the party message. So it's pretty good. Anyways, Bryce, that's all I really had about that. Guys, you have questions on that drip campaign. And in that folder, you can download this to your own Shout account. It'll be right there for you, ready to use.
Yeah, so I think that's a fantastic overview of that. So again, the folder on here, again, what we imported these bots, the drip campaign that Erica just talked through. There was a tag for no VIP and then a VIP list. And so we tried to make it very simple and straightforward so it's not crazy overwhelming for you. And the fun part is, I think, even like what Erica was saying, is she was running it this simple for a long time and she's had a lot of success. So I think oftentimes people get in and they really, really, really want to complicate it and reinvent the wheel and make it absolutely crazy. I think that if any advice that I would give is on the drip campaign, again, add your name into it. She made it where it's very easy for you to personalize. I would add your name. If the verbiage doesn't sound like you, right, you can go in and change that verbiage, right? And then to get it set up, I think that's usually kind of the other questions we get is, well, wait a second, like, how do I actually set it up? So the things that we need to do to make this drip campaign work or to make the bots work, you'll see a thing on here, the status says it's paused and there's currently no services set up. So for this, what we would need to do is we're just going to click these 3 little dots here and hit edit. And then from here, this is where there's 2 things that we have to do no matter what to make it work. Thing number 1 is we need to activate it by clicking on the little active button here. Thing number 2 is select our services. If we're wanting this to go out through text, then you just have to have a paid Shout account with a phone number, and then you would select the customer service or the marketing phone number on there. We don't need a trigger word for this drip campaign. So once you've selected your services, then again, I'd go through and make sure that you update your name, right? So you add your name in here. Great, we've got that set. We activate it, and then we would hit save. So now that we've gone through and we've saved that, again, to Erica's point earlier is where it's well, how do I then actually run this drip campaign on someone? You could do it straight from your contacts. So if somebody had just made a purchase, again, we're going to go through, we're going to say, great, I'm going to, create, whoops, this little window's in the way. I'm going to create a new contact, right? And this is going to be, Bobby Brown, right? Phone number is this one, right? So we'll create him as a contact, right? And then, straight from here, this again, I'm going to say, awesome. I'm going to add them to the customer list. I'm going to save that, right? And then if straight from here, if I wanted to, I could just hit the little manage button, run drip campaign. And I'm going to say, awesome, I want to use my new customer drip. I hit save, and that's it. Right now, I'm following up with Bobby, every 3 days for the next 2 weeks, which is awesome. So that's where I think when it comes to that piece, very straightforward, very simple. So that's what we would need to do to get the drip set up. The bots, where we're talking about the VIP stuff, where people can actually come in and they can opt in, right? And they can say, yes, I want to receive these messages. Really same type of thing, similar to the drip, is we have to add services and we have to activate it. Now with this, a lot of people then say, well, how do I actually get it out to people? There's a couple of really, simple ways that we would highly recommend. One, people talk about it in their stories, their reels, Facebook posts, and often they're going to post their, just their phone number. They're going to say, hey, join my VIP list, text the word VIP to this phone number. Right? You can have any trigger word you want. So if you didn't want it to be VIP, you could have your own name. I could say, great, text Bryce to this number, or text deals, whatever you want. You can have as many trigger words as you want on a bot. However, you just want to make sure that those trigger words aren't used on other ones. And so with this, I like the word VIP, so I'm going to keep it very simple here. So you can post the phone number and then tell people to text the word VIP. And then if straight from here, if I wanted to, you can have your own name. I could say, great, text Bryce to this number, or text deals, whatever you want. You can have as many trigger words as you want on a bot. However, you just want to make sure that those trigger words aren't used on other ones. And so with this, I like the word VIP. So I'm going to keep it very simple here. Or you can also set up what's called a tap or a click to text link. I'm happy to show people how to do that, where basically we give you a little SMS link that has your phone number in it. And then through there, we create a Shout share link to where you can then go through and you can put that in. I don't know if you can put those ones in stories. I haven't tried it in a story, but we have people put it in reels all the time, or they do them as like little sticker links. And when people click on that, it's automatically going to open up their messaging, like their text messaging app, and it will pre-fill your phone number and the trigger word to the bot that you want them to message. So now instead of them having to go and like punch in the number, they just click the little link, it opens up messages, and all they have to do is hit the send button. And from there, they're getting a text back from you, they're responding with their name, it's creating them as a contact inside of Shout and adding them to your VIP list. So that's where I'm saying it, probably in a very, what might sound as like an oversimplified way, but really those are the steps that we've, taught people to do it for years now. And that's where we're seeing a ton of success, is when they just keep it really, really simple. So that's where I'd say with this, this covers the VIP bots, it shows us how to, go in and do lists. We can easily run, a drip campaign. And if people's heads are exploding, you're like, man, I'm in Shout, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to run these tags, I'm trying to do these lists, I'm doing 15 campaigns. If you call us, the very first thing we're going to say is like, rein it in, right? Like just pull back a little bit, slow down, and just focus on one small thing at a time that's manageable for you. Shout's purpose is to help save you time and make your workflow more efficient, not make life more hectic and crazy. And so that's where, we'd say, I think this is a really, really great baseline for people to start in. So if all that you're doing is literally getting in your back office and saying, great, I'm creating the contact, I'm sending a follow-up, fortune is in the follow-up, right? So if you're staying in touch with these folks, it's going to make life a whole lot easier. And so, to the point Erica made, if you have one customer, that's enough to start a business, right? As it grows, that's then when being able to do big broadcast messaging, and by broadcast meaning sending a message to a lot of people at one time, right? Being able to do that kind of stuff ends up getting, but becoming a lot more prevalent in the business, and really becomes a really big driver for, increased revenue and growth of your team.
I love that. So Bryce, we have a couple questions here, but the other thing I want to mention to you guys is, from the beginning, you have a chat that you can go to for support with Shout. And so if you have a question, it's super easy to get an answer, and it's fairly quick. Which is something that I do love. So even after this call, if you have questions, me and your uplines, we're a great support, but we don't always know all the answers either. So they're there for that. I want Bryce to go over the different versions and what you get. But before we do that, so Bryce, if this gal Jessie, who just ordered with me today, if in a couple weeks, if she orders again and I'm like, gosh, did I already send her that drip campaign? Because I don't want to send it again, because that looks freaking weird. Right. How do I know if she's already gotten it? How can I quickly just be like?
Great question. So inside of there, so if she ordered, I'm just going to go ahead and leave here really fast. So if she ordered, again, I like to do tons and tons of stuff from my inbox. I don't think I have any conversations open. So from from your inbox, you can go straight into that conversation. You'll see the conversation profile, or just right from the contact. If Jessie ordered again, then what we would do on here is we'll click on Jessie Smith, and we're going to click on activity. And on here, this is where you would see if there's a current or active drip campaign running, we'll be able to see that she's in that drip campaign. And that's where we could say, oh, I actually need to pull her out of that drip campaign. Or that's where you say, you know what, I'm going to leave her in there, right? So activity on the profile is going to show you anything that's happening. If you have scheduled messages, if there's any recurring events, bots, drips, anything like that.
Will it show me if she's been through it and it's not active any longer?
Yeah.
Will it just kind of be there like?
Yep. So you could do that. We make that available from the drip campaign itself. So to see if they've already been through it, this is where you could go to the contacts in progress or the contacts finished. And if you were to click on here, this is then going to show you a list of all the people who have completed that drip campaign.
I love it.
I think that's helpful, right? Is where everything, you have access to everything inside of your conversation history, within your inbox. And so let me just, I'll just add Leah here really quick. So let me add her to my contacts, and I'll send her a quick message.
While you're doing that, Bree had mentioned something really awesome, guys, and I want to just reiterate from the chat. It's not going to have you duplicate any contacts. So if you're entering somebody in and it's red flagging that name or phone number that it's already in there, like you're not going to be duplicating contacts. That was a huge fear of mine because I cannot remember who is where. So it'll tell you this contact already exists. So
yes. Yep. So yeah, so if you're trying to upload, or again, like if they were texting in to a bot, like to opt in, maybe you're having other campaigns, you're doing other stuff, it will skip over any contact information if we already have it, right? And then that way you're not getting a whole bunch of duplicates. So it will help you merge on there. And then in the event that you do need to like kind of manually merge contacts, you can do that as well. So to the piece on here, so I was just going to show you just from like the conversation standpoint, everything I showed you, you know, with the contact profile, you can see right here on the right, you know, within your conversation. So if I have this here, if you're wondering, hey, you know, have they been through, you know, the drip campaign before? It will show you if there's any current drip campaigns. And the other nice part is if you scroll up, we have the full conversation history here. So if you're like, man, have they ever gotten it before? You can simply scroll up right in your conversation and you'll be able to see everything that you've said to each other, you know, since creation of that contact and that conversation.
Last thing I'm going to share on this screen, you guys, I love Shout so much, I can't even help myself. So one thing that I will do is if I want this person to book a party or become a rep, do you see that notes section? You want to hover over that. You can write right there, asked to book a party, said later date. Like you can add more stuff in this contact. Again, you guys, like there's so many facets of Shout. It's insane. But that is really cool to be able to go and do it. They can't see that, but you can. So if you're wanting to keep any notes from anybody, it's a great place to kind of have an overview of your customer too, maybe even their sizes, things they like or don't like, things like that. There's so much you can do here. Oh my gosh. Okay. Right. Do you have anything else before we hop into some questions, Bryce?
No, I think that's the fun part, right? Is where I think, you know, kind of the maybe the thing I would say, and this is just kind of a general piece on here, there's a whole lot that you can do inside of Shout. And I think sometimes it can feel overwhelming, right? Where you look at it and it's like, man, what am I staring at? The one thing is you're not really going to break anything. So I would just say, like, click around. If you're curious, click on buttons. You can hover on stuff. We have a help center where you can go through things. If you're nervous about doing any of that, reach out to our support, call us. We're happy to jump on calls and walk people through how to utilize the platform. We're happy to put you in touch with Shout experts that, you know, like that can handle this type of stuff for you. So I would just say, you know, before you feel stressed or overwhelmed about any of the things, click around, right? Try things out. And, you know, we get pretty excited about it. So we're not going anywhere. So if you're feeling, you know, worked up or worried, you know, hop on a call with us and we'll make sure that this is making sense for your business.
I love that. I love that. So the other question that was asked on there, people are asking, once they've got this drip campaign for me, like, do I have any other saved messages or another drip campaign? I don't have another drip campaign. However, you can save messages. So I have about 4 other messages that I will send. So if Jesse orders from me again, and I'm not going to run that drip campaign, I'm just going to go through a series of 4 different messages that are all just a little bit different. Like, thank you for your order, girlfriend. Like, you're going to look killer in those items. Or thank you for your other order. I clearly have made a Zaya addict. Like, you can come up with some other messages. And right here that Bryce is showing you is how to go and do that. And these are all going to be saved and you can implement them super quick. So if you are getting a repeat customer, the first time you do, go and save that message right after you send it. Do you want to show them how you find those?
Yeah, so what I did is I just created a quick response. And so again, this is basically like your clipboard, right? So for the things like Erica's saying, like where she says there's 4, right? You probably say those 4 things 50 times a week, right? And so for that, we just have that under our little message helpers here. And you can click on quick responses. And I just created an order thank you. So I'm going to click on that. It's going to pre-fill it for me. I hit send. We're rocking and rolling. And so that's the other nice part is if you wanted to maybe have one that has an image with it or anything like that, that's when you could then create a message template. And so I got there from my settings, but you could do it straight through here from your message composer. You can click on message templates or on quick responses and hit new. And this is where I'd then be able to save the template, right? And this would be like Aubrey Aubrey's info. Okay, this is an awesome message with a photo, right? I could do that, and then I could save this template with a file. And I'm saying Aubrey's because this was actually a screenshot of Aubrey Edgington doing her text me inside of this image.
Oh, will you stay right there quick?
Yep.
So if you do ever want to send an image, do you see how you guys, there's a little chat box on there, and then there's the link. Always make sure you change it to chat box. Thank you, Bree Fisher. She figured that out for us about a year ago, because that will show up as a graphic right there in their feed. If it automatically prompts to the link. Maybe that's something I could talk to Shout about.
So we actually have a setting. Yeah. So we actually have a setting in your settings where you can say, anytime you do it by default, send as MMS. It did a link for me because I don't have a phone number hooked up on this account. So it's a link, but it'll show up as an actual image in Shout. So we have had people request that, and I can show you really quick. You go into your settings, and then you can set settings on there to always have it default to go as an MMS.
I'll fix that tonight. Perfect.
Yeah.
So next step is to go in. I do want Bryce to go over the different plans. And you guys, I want to reiterate, this is not to sell you on Shout. There's no, if you don't use it, it's not like your business is going to, not be successful. But I do find a lot of value in this. And I know we all pay a lot of subscriptions to a lot of different things, and we want to utilize our money and our time wisely. So truthfully, putting this together and having Bryce come on and share the different plans is just in order to help you guys. If you choose to go that route, great. We want to help you with that. If you choose to just use the free account and talk Shout to Shout and use it for team stuff, we want to love you there, and we want to help you right there. I just want to make sure that nobody feels pressured to do that. However, if you're like, Erica, I love what you guys just presented. I want to take my business to the next level. I want this customer service experience. Bryce is going to break that down to you and how that works. Your own.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, great intro on there. So with our pricing, we have a couple of different plans. And here I'll hit stop share on here. So we have a few different plans. We have a free forever plan, which is, all of the Shout communication, which I think most of you are already inside of Shout currently, in like the Ziafire community. There's group chats, contacts, everything that I showed you literally that I just created. I'm sitting inside of a free account that doesn't have a phone number on it, which is really cool. So the big difference between all of our plans are, once you get into a space where you're paying for Shout, is if you're wanting to have a phone number where you're doing texting, or if you're wanting to use automations. And we also have like landing pages that are coming out in just a couple of weeks. And so those things are basically where we have the paywall on Shout. So if you want to text or do automations or have landing pages, that comes as part of a paid plan. Outside of that, we have unlimited, group chats, DMs, contacts, lists, tags, all of that in our free plan. The way that our paid plans are set up are, we have a kind of like a basic plan, which comes with a local telephone number, which we like to call a customer service number. And so we have that. It comes with 750 outbound text messages each month. That one is at, I think it's like $16 a month. And then we have a pro plan that comes with both the customer service phone number and a toll-free marketing number. So when you saw me kind of clicking between the services, and it was saying, which phone number do you want to send it through? Or, how do you want to send it? Shout to Shout? Do you want to send it through customer service or through marketing? You can then also, with this pro plan, you get all three of those outlets. And, with the pro plan, the marketing phone number, they're built for speed. So meaning like, how fast can a message send out, into how many people per second can they send? And then volume, how many, contacts will it send out to before you start running into kind of getting throttled by message carriers. And so that's really the big delineation between our basic plan and our pro plan, which is the difference in phone numbers. So the basic plan comes with one phone number. It's our customer service number. If you're sending text messages out to, lists of people under, 200 or 300 people at a time, then a customer service number is going to work just great. And that's where I'd say great. Basic plan is a wonderful place to start. The pro plan, if you're then, saying, yep, I've got a big customer list, it's going to continue to get bigger, and I want to do a lot of like marketing and promotional text messages, that's where we would then say, fantastic. We would recommend setting that one up and then having that toll-free marketing phone number as well. And so really that's like, we've tried to make it very, very simple on that front. The Pro plan is like $22 a month, comes with 1,000 outbound text messages per month, and then the 2 phone numbers. And then all of our messages beyond that. It doesn't mean you can't send more than, what comes, along with your plan each month. At this point right now, like, text credits, we charge them in blocks of 500 outbound text credits. And so you can buy a block of additional credits and it goes into your account. If you don't use them, they roll over. So people ask all the time, like, well, wait a second, am I going to get charged for inbound texts? The answer is no. You get unlimited inbound texting, and you also get unlimited one-to-one texting. So if in this case, right, where, Erica was saying, yeah, like if someone messages me back and forth and it's like, yeah, what about this? It's like, oh, hey, girlfriend, like, great, thanks for your order. Yep, already got that one. Any one-to-one, just regular communication is unlimited back and forth. The only text messages that we charge you for are automated outbound messages. That would mean if they're going through a bot, a broadcast, or a drip campaign, or like a scheduled message on there. Those are the only ones that we charge for. Everything else, if it's one-to-one, absolutely unlimited. So
Bryce,
any questions about that?
The way I look at that whole text message thing, because at first I was kind of worried about all of those fears that I know some of you guys are having. So it's like 1,000, I'm going to burn through this shit quick. I talk a lot. But my thing was immediately I was like, okay, only the text messages I'm asking Shout to send on my behalf. If I'm not actually physically sending it, it's a charged text message. And that really helped my brain wrap around that a little bit more.
That's a really great way to put it. I like that. Yeah. So basically any of the automated things, like if you're not sitting there typing it out, that's where, yes, you get charged for the outbound credit on there. But if you're the one sitting there typing it out back and forth to someone, you get as many of those as you want. So great clarification on there.
Sorry, Bryce. It's correct that if you send a graphic and have text, that would count as 2 text messages. Is that correct?
Counts as 1. So we have it bundled together yet. So it's just going to count as one message there. Now, if you sent that text and that graphic though to 50 people, right, it's going to go to 50 people individually. So that means if you sent out that as like a broadcast message, that's where it would then mean, okay, cool, that's 50 outbound credits that would be used for that. Does that make sense?
I think we've all been thinking it was 2, so cool.
Yeah. So it's just going to count as the one message. So we kind of wrap them all together. So it used to be something where it would be, hey, it's one credit if it's this, and 2, and then we simplified everything. And so that's where we said, great, we wrap them all up. So if it's this long, if it's this long, if it has an image or not, it's all just one credit.
What other questions do you guys have? Any other questions before we wrap up? This was a little longer than maybe we anticipated, but I hope it was helpful. Ladies, I hope that if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Shout themselves, reach out to your upline, me, or anybody that's needed. So we appreciate you guys hopping on.
Eric, I think maybe one thing to add on here is just the question if it's how do people then get the folder that we just talked about, where they can get the info? So it's inside of your account, and that's where it's you can just, if you want, you can copy the link, like however you're wanting to distribute it to your team. But that's where basically, again, like we're happy to put together a little video that kind of walks you back through. I know I was kind of going fast, but basically she can send the link to you, and if you click it, it will add you to that folder. You can import the items, and then you would basically just go through the same steps we just did on this demo. But if that's something that you're needing help with, or you're stuck, just reach out to Shout support. Everybody's account comes with a Shout support conversation already opened. So you can do that. And then the other thing too is if it's helpful, Malia and I can send like our links over where you can connect with us, and we can help you out as well. And then yes, you can, great question. You can import on the free account. So you can build your bots, you can import your bots, you can do all of that. The only time you then need to upgrade, and maybe you saw that during the demos, then when it was like me trying to say, I want to send a text, right? Or like, I actually want to like run, this automation. At that point, that's when it's going to say, hey, if you want to run it, you just have to upgrade it so you have a phone number to actually send it through.
Okay, well, 1 second. I'm trying to send it to these gals really quick so that they can have it. And that one said it wasn't working. What about this one?
Oh, here, the
Guys.
folder, the link that you want to, I think, I'm looking at the link that you sent. We just need, it's actually a different link that we need to send.
Is it this one right here? Don't hop off, ladies. Grab the link quick because I'm not going to send it out to everybody individually tonight when you hop off the call and message me on Facebook.
Yep, that's the proper link right there. So anyway, so that's the one. And then that way, like it'll get you in there. And again, if you're like, hey, what do I do now? We're stuck. Again, it's just, you're going to hit the import all, and then you can go into the bot and you can activate it, and we can go through. Interesting that it's saying you don't have access. We have sharing turned on here.
It says,
Yeah, sharing on there. Okay, well, we can pop through. If there's issues, we can have people pop into me. I'll fix it. I probably just sent the wrong link. Let's see.
I'm just looking. I worked for Bree earlier.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if we maybe sent the wrong one. All right.
Oh, somebody said it worked.
Yeah, click
I was able to open it.
User
I could open it.
error.
User error. Yeah, so we'll get it figured out. And again, if you're having issues with it, if anyone's having issues on there, I can just send over my contact info on here and we can get connected. And happy
Yeah,
to.
and maybe try on a computer, you guys clear your cache. Like sometimes when you reopen a link, we all know how that works.
Okay. Yeah, and that is the other thing too. Is sometimes like on your phone, if you're doing it, if you're not signed in or authenticated on like a web browser on your phone, that's probably the reason why it's saying that it's not available, because you have to sign in to be able to do that. So
yeah, so be signed in to your
so you just need to sign
Shout
in
account before you click on that. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, that's probably what's happening on there. So
Perfect.
Thank you all for joining. I just threw my handle in there. It's just Bryce from Shout. So really, anyone is more than welcome to connect with me. Send me a message. We would love to chat with you and learn how we can help, and excited to get to meet everybody.
Thank you guys so much for your time and for helping us tonight. We appreciate you. Thank you, ladies, for hopping on. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks. We'll see you.